part 2 with Aaron Zizov. Today's webinar is recorded and presented by Lotus Institute of Integrative Medicine. Here at eLotus, we have been hosting educational courses for over 2 decades, and we are proud to be your trusted source for premium CU content with over 200 speakers, 700 courses, and 3,000 hours of continuing education. Let's do some housekeeping before we get started. Today's webinar will run from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We'll have a 1-hour lunch break from 1 to 2 p.m., 2 short breaks in the morning, and 2 in the afternoon. Lecture notes. These are currently available for download on the Blue Course Access page. The chat room. If you look at your Zoom right now, and if you have the chat room up and you're looking at it, please set it to everybody. By default, only the speaker and the host, which is eLotus, only our eLotus staff can see it. So we want everyone to be part of the conversation. So please set your chat to everybody. Also, did you know that you can make your video or the PowerPoint slides bigger depending on what you prefer? There is a tab straight in the middle, so you can move it to the left or to move it to the right, depending on which view you want to be larger. So if you want to see the PowerPoint slide better, you can move it. You can move the thing, whatchamacallit. You can move the slider over, and then if you want the video to be bigger, you can move it the other way. So it's customized to your preference. The quiz. The quiz will be ready for you tomorrow afternoon, and I'll send an email out when that is ready. And the video replay will also be available tomorrow, and I will send a separate email when that is ready as well. Okay, so today we are back for part 2 with Aaron Zizov. And today's focus is on the 4 C's, opening points of the stems and branches, treatment according to the binominal energy, Chinese numerology, trigrams, and hexagrams. If you missed part 1 of this class, you may be lost in today's class material because you're joining us halfway. We recommend that you continue with part 1's class at a later time, for which a video course will be available next week. To keep the class organized and fair for everyone, if there are any questions about what was covered in yesterday's part 1 class, please refer to the video recording from that class for the answer. There's still so much to go over in today's class, so let's go ahead and welcome Aaron. A little introduction for him. Aaron completed his graduate studies in acupuncture, herbal medicine, and shiatsu in 2004 from Medicine College located in Tel Aviv, Israel. Aaron specializes in gynecology and Chinese cosmetology and is taught at leading colleges in Israel. He currently teaches professional workshops and courses in Israel and Europe in Chinese cosmetology, tongue diagnosis, and Chinese astrology. He also has these courses available on elotus.org, so you can look him up by his speaker bio and find all of his past courses with us. And just to give you guys a heads up, Aaron is teaching from Israel today. So right now it's 7 p.m. his time. So thank you in advance for your understanding that this night out is teaching in the middle of the night with us. Okay, so let's get started with today's webinar and welcome Aaron. Aaron, you are more than welcome to go ahead and take over.
Okay, thank you again. Thanks again, Donna. I will start with apologies for yesterday. From some reason, my Zoom just collapsed. Perfect. And just at the end, when Donna said goodbye, I managed to log in once again. But of course, we'll continue where we stopped yesterday. And I will just put up the presentation. Okay, great to see you all. Yeah, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. So it's a pleasure to see you from different places in the world, and it's a big pleasure. So we're gonna have, my wish is to have lots of fun today. Yesterday was fun too. We went through all the channels, like the extra Meridian channels and the main Meridian channels. And we started with the Luo and Divergent, and then there was then it was stopped, the broadcast. So we'll continue from there. Is there anyone who haven't been yesterday and just joining today? Just say like I, if you haven't been yesterday, Okay. Okay. So some of you. Okay. Okay, I see some of you. I will make, because I don't want you, I don't want you to be like out from the beginning. So maybe I will just give a short, I'll try to do it shorter as possible in just to consider in consideration of those who've been yesterday. So I don't want to exhaust them, but I will do a brief. Okay, thank you for all your feedbacks. I'm happy you're enjoying, and I wish you will get more value from this day also. So, okay, so I see there are quite a lot who haven't been yesterday. So, okay, let me go just from the beginning. And again, I will take maybe 10 minutes, I think, just to go through what I was talking yesterday. Okay, just because I want like everyone to be even in the knowledge of what we're talking about today. So basically, we started yesterday with just 1 second. I'm just on the chat. For those of you who've been yesterday and you have any questions, please write them down on the chat or Q&A. And of course, I will give, I will answer as much as I can. Okay, so the whole idea of this seminar is basically like the title of it, like how we can choose like one easy protocol with acupuncture in order to treat basically everything. And the whole idea is that we want to understand that with all the systems that we might work with, TCM, tongue, scalp, stems, branches, 5 elements, shiatsu, whatever, there are simple rules that we can all go through when we understand these basic rules, which are like the classical Chinese medicine. It will be easy for us to give a good treatment and to have a great prosperous practice with lots of success. So all the systems are basically, 5 elements, 6 climates, stems, branches, numerology, feng shui, trigrams, hexagrams, 8 principles, yin and yang. They are all the same idea, and they are based on the same ideas or based on the same philosophies. They're all good, they work well, and we want to understand how to get a solution for a problem that the patient comes to us with. So we want to locate where the problem is, which channel, which exact location is it, what's the function of the system that is failing, the time of the problem, how long the patient suffers from it, the effect on other systems to know if we need to connect different meridians, and eventually we get the answer with which meridian we treat with. So it goes with, first of all, the diagnosis with all the symptoms that we collect from inspection, listening, smelling, the inquiry, and palpation with the different variations. Sorry, I'm going to go fast on this, okay, for those who haven't been yesterday, but again, it will take forever. So we collect the symptoms. Later on, we need to make the differential diagnosis, like what's the etiology, location, nature of that, and to decide about which kind of treatment we need to execute or to make. Is it like, first of all, the treatment principle? Is it acupuncture? Is it herbs? Is it other options like manual therapies or psychologists or emotional therapies or whatever, okay? So in the clinic, again, we see the clinical signs. We understand the Western pathophysiology. Sometimes the patient will come with specific diagnosis, all the systems which are involved, and we need to think systematically and translate this information to Chinese pathophysiology, which means which systems are involved, and again, how we perform the acupuncture to those cases. So again, when a patient comes to me, I will ask him or her to write some, on the questionnaire, to write down what the problem is, even to mark it on the body, like is it here or is it here or whatever. And I want to diagnose, I want to understand, first of all, which meridian system is involved, what treatment principle, which points to use. Okay, simple. When we look at the whole structure, and we'll go back to this today more deeply on this basic structure, we can see that we have, like, everything is connected. We have, if we go just to the lower part, so we have like the control, the coordination of yin and yang. We have the gate of yin and yang, yin center, yang center on both sides, and each one of them spreads or divides to the 4 C's, which we can see. Maybe I'll just make a highlight. So we can see the 4 C's, which are on the upper part, and then the opening and exit points of these C's. From there, how they generate or basically create the 8 extra meridians with these points here. And eventually, after all, they all kind of focus on yin aspects with the pericardium system, which creates all yin, or actually kind of controls, or I would say gives attention or kind of affecting the whole yin meridians. And then we have the yang and the yang aspect with triple roamer, and all the system with the tree heather, and controls all the yang channels. Okay, so again, don't worry about this one. Today we'll get deeper into this table. Okay, so when we understand the basic structure of how all meridians are connected, we want to understand the different levels of the meridians and their pathways. So we have the yuan qi with the constitutional qi, where we have, and basically the energy comes up to the highest level, to the surface. On the yuan qi level, we have the 8 extra meridians with the prenatal energy. Then we have the yin qi level, which is responsible for blood and fluids. Prenatal energy, we have here the 15 connecting meridians, the zang fu organs, the 12 main meridians that also go over the wei qi level, the protective qi. On this level, it's the idea is to release the pathogen, to protect the body, working with the TMM meridian and meridians, 12 TMM and 6 cutaneous meridians or areas. We also have the divergent meridians, the 12 divergent that comes from or go out from the from the main channels, main meridians, and basically the divergent meridians, they are connected to yuan qi level and wei qi level, with the attempting to try or trying to release the exterior, or to put it deep in the yuan qi level to keep on it, okay, just to store it, that it won't damage the zangfu organs. Later on, we spoke about the different terminologies of the 8 extra meridians. Okay, so this is the level of the 8 extra meridians by different terminologies, energetic dynamics, grouping by different ways, by order of appearance, by partners, or by areas. Later, we talked about the functions, the basic functions of the 12 main meridians, 12 extra meridians. Again, I cannot go through all this. I believe you can watch the video and to get all this. And then how to use these 8 extra and when to use them, in which cases. Usually I will not start immediately, just in certain cases like fertility, for example, which I will maybe start immediately because I don't want to waste time. So this is about the basic aspect of these. Then we talked about the connection to the nervous system with the somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system, and how they are connected to the sensory input, and with that to the parasympathetic nervous system, which actually creates or kind of works on Renmai and Indiwei Mai from the 8 extra, and from the autonomic nervous system, basically, or from the sensory input, the brain gets the integration of what the senses, like the feeling, or what's the information there, and then the motor output will affect the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, and then Dumai meridian and Yang Wei meridian. Okay, so we talked about this part. Then we talked about the endocrine system and how it's connected with hypothalamus, hypophysis, or pituitary gland, and their effect on the yang aspects with Daimai and Yang Chiao Mai, and then the effect on the yin aspects with Chong Mai and Yin Chiao Mai. After that, we started, again, we saw that there is a connection, like interaction between nervous system, endocrine system. They kind of affect each other, and of course, the different extra meridians which are connected to each of them. After that, we gave more specific information about each of the meridians. I will just go through them. I will not go into details, but we spoke about the pathway, okay, where the channels go through. The idea of this is go to the basics, okay? I gave this example yesterday of when we want to navigate or to get somewhere, we need to understand what the path is. So on the old days, before GPS and smartphones, we had to open maps and to find the road. These days, we don't really do that because, you know, you just put it on in the car navigation or in the mobile phone and you have it immediately. And also for the channels, we tend to forget where they go through, and it's very important. And yesterday, actually, we've been through many, lots of details, many details of the specific locations of where these meridians go through, okay? And this is the basic. I mean, the idea is to go to the basics and to understand them from another perspective or point of view, more advanced point of view of a clinical experience. So we saw the whole pathways of the channels, where they go through. So the Dumai is the opening point of small intestine 3, secondary point of bladder 62, then starting point, Luo, meeting with other meridians, organs which are affected from Dumai, orifices, nose, anus, urethra. The influence is the Sea of Yang, glands which are under the responsibility or under the effect of Dumai, ovaries, testicles, adrenal, hypophysa, and Sea of Brain from the 4 C's with Do16 and Do20. Today we'll talk about these C's deeper. Okay, and then we talked about all the clinical symptoms or indications of the 8 extra, of Dumai. And so again, I won't go through all this. You just check it later on. Then we went through the Renmai, the channel, the pathway with the Luo connecting area, opening with lung 7, secondary is kidney 6, starting Luo, organs, orifices, influence on genitalia, abdomen, trachea, lungs, throat, face, eyes. Basically, the influence will usually be according to the location of the pathway. Okay, so if I want to drive from LA to San Francisco, I can take road number 1 and I need to understand where the path goes through. And if I want to stop somewhere in Carmel or wherever, so I can do that also. Okay, but I need to understand where the pathway goes through. So glands, Sea of Yin connects to the Sea of Qi. Again, the nourishment of Yin is very important, all the effect of the hormonal issues and all the aspects of gynecology and fertility and basically all that, which is very important for with the Renmai. Then we talked about the Chongmai, Sea of Blood. Again, the channel where the channels go through, spleen 4, pericard 6 as the opening and secondary, meeting with other meridians and organs, influence many aspects, many areas, but basically lifting, it's the sea of blood, so it is the meridian is responsible for the nourishment of blood, glands, ovaries, thyroid, pituitary gland, very important for, again, fertility and hormones, hormonal conditions. Okay, let me see just, okay. Do you hear me well? See me well, hear me well? Just let me know that, yes, okay, because, yeah, okay, great. I was frozen maybe for a second. Okay, next one is, okay, sea of blood, sea of 12 main meridians, and sea of 5 Zang and 6 Fu. Okay, so all the influences that Chong Mai has. Next one was Dai Mai, the belt meridian, gallbladder 41, triple Omer 5 as secondary. All the meridians that the meridian covers. Reproductive organs, waist, hips, uterus, bladder, and all the effect of balancing liver, gallbladder from the aspect of, again, because the opening point is gallbladder 41, so obviously will be influence on that. And the wood energy, wood element, and all the heat or damp heat that might get accumulated there. Okay, next one was the, sorry, just one second, in Chiao Mai. So in Chiao Mai, kidney 6 opening, lung 7 secondary, accumulation kidney 8, meeting and all that. So the inner side of the legs, the external genitalia and abdomen, eyes and sleep. We talked about these connections of opening the eyes. If we see the different points, again, if you have a question about any of the symptoms or indications of meridian, just go to the channels, go to the pathways, and just search the answer over there. You'll find it most of the time. If not, it might be because of different connections that this meridian has to the organ, or different or other meridians which are connected with different relationships. Okay, partners in the yin yang, in the same element or same level, or anyway, many connections. So there are always answers in Chinese medicine. This is the nice part about it. If we don't understand, we can always make some answers. No, I'm kidding. We want to, usually, actually, I gave it as a joke, but when I was studying Chinese medicine, I took everything for granted. I didn't argue with my professors and the teachers. I just accepted it as. Okay, so this tense of tension of interruptions. Okay, if it will happen, just be patient, wait a bit. Maybe it's the Zoom, maybe it's Wi-Fi. I don't know. I have other options of different connections. But okay, if it happens, just don't worry. We'll be back. Okay, so. Okay. Yeah, okay. So I was talking when I was, thank you, Addison Taylor. Okay, so I was talking about this time I was like in school, and I didn't ask questions. I took everything for granted, didn't argue, but after a while, when I started the practice and I started teaching, I started to ask some questions and to understand, okay, why is that? I want to understand the logic, not just the philosophical ideas. I can get along with philosophy very easily, but I want to understand how it was developed and why it was developed this way. And this way, when we get and we dig into the knowledge, like as much as we go far back, we can find more answers. So it's all written basically, and if not, so we need to search more and keep on studying, keep on learning more. Actually, I teach because I just want to study more. Okay, that's my little secret. So, okay, so after the yin qiao, we talked about yang qiao mai, with all the effect on the lateral aspect of the leg, pelvis, back, neck, and head, opening point with bladder 62, and small intestine 3. Okay, organs affecting the brain also, or yang meridians, and so on. So, cleaning excess yang or heat from the head, influence of the eyes, and so on. Again, if you go by the pathway, you will understand what the channel might do externally and internally with the internal branches. After that, we talked about yin wei mai with the opening point of pericard 6, spleen 4 as secondary, influencing the chest and the heart, organs influencing the brain. Okay, and nourish the heart, open the chest, mostly these kind of mental, emotional problems, reproductive organs, and so on. Yang wei mai, opening triple 5 and secondary with gallbladder 41, lateral aspect of the leg, sides of the body, lateral aspect of neck, head, and ears. Okay, it has the connection to Shao Yang, and we gave the example of tinnitus yesterday, talking about how we can work with the Shao Yang. Later on, I will go through this. So all wind pathogen, all Shao Yang glare problems, headaches, backache, and so on. Okay, and ear problems, epilepsy. Okay, after that, we talked about a bit about the organs and how we can penetrate the organ. So again, the organs are like the town that I want to get through, through the road, the main road. So I have the main road, then I have a junction, I need to turn left or right, and then I can enter the town. So I was talking about the idea of how we basically, the way I want to show here is how to work with opening the channels in a very easy way, but also a very strong and effective way. So basically we have the channel. Let's take, for example, lung. It's tai yin, hen tai yin. So opening the level with lung 11 and spleen 1, like the Jing well points of both meridians on the level. Then we have the concentration point, which connects both of the meridians. Many times it's like the beginning of the meridian or like entering. And then if I want to get to the organ, I can use these points which are on this column. Okay, so lung 1 will help us to penetrate directly to the lung organ. I will talk about these points later on after the main meridians. Okay, and so on. So we have different, I said that all the young meridians are going, the organ connection will be through stomach 12, except bladder, which is the only young meridian that has its own way of penetrating the organ with bladder 23 and bladder 40. But all the rest of the young, they go through stomach 12. We penetrate to the organ. Then we started talking about the 12 main meridians. So we've been through all the channels. I will not go through this. The main channel with the Luo, Divergent, TMM, with some extra understanding of specific muscles, as Dr. Tan worked on in his life project, which is very useful to use this sometimes when a patient comes with the specific diagnosis. Okay, we talked about all the functions, all of the lung or the symptoms. And then again here, opening the channel with lung 11, spleen 1. If not, we said we can do, we can work with the Yuan point instead, which means if the, I will just give this example, I will write it down just for, to make it clear once. So draw. Okay. So I said that generally we will prefer to work with like opening lung 11, but we can also do lung 9 as the source point and spleen 3 instead, in cases it's difficult or painful to treat or to puncture the Jing well point. Okay, penetration, the concentration point will be anyway the same, RAN 12. Then we have a group connection, which we'll talk today also a bit more. We have a connection to the 8 extra meridians we can use from here. For example, for Ren, we can enter from here or open the Renmai. Then Luo connecting point in case we need to connect with the large intestine 4 as source and Yuan. Yuan point in case we want to strengthen the energy of the level. So we will do that on both meridians, or we can do specifically on the lung or our spleen, depends. Then we have the divergent. Today we'll go a bit more about divergent. We have TMM connecting points. So divergent upper and lower point, meeting points. We have the Jing, so meeting TMM, it's like the 3-hand yin meeting point, gallbladder 22. Then we have the Jing well, yin spring, Shu spring, Jing river, and her sea, like the 5 antique points, and also the 5 element points, which today we'll talk a bit deeper also, with all the influence that they have on each other, okay, how they affect each other. So we'll go deeply today into the 5 elements, so it will be more easy to understand this. Okay, so I did this one. Okay, lung. So large intestine, the same, just go through the channel with all the different indications, just to, you know, a small indication that I want you to notice is the upper back, which can be connected also to large intestine TMM, like sinew channel or tendomuscular channel. All the functions, opening level of the Yang Ming with concentration point 1 of these 3. Usually I will use stomach 5 or 8, organ connection in case we want to, and so on, all the rest. Okay, so we talked also about stomach. Pay attention to stomach TMM also with the connection to basically stomach. Yang Ming is controlling the whole anterior part. So I mean, because it's the anterior part, we tend to forget that stomach sinew channel has a branch also to the back, lower back, okay, the area of the waist. So we need to pay attention to that. It's the psoas, I mentioned the psoas muscle that goes through there, which is connected to stomach. And then all the main symptoms and so on. Okay, so opening Yang Ming and same idea here. Okay, spleen, again with all the different pathways, Luo, the great Luo of the spleen, and the connection to spleen nourishment and digestion, mental and physical digestion, opening Tai Yin, and so on with all the rest. Sorry that I'm doing this fast for those who haven't been yesterday, but sorry, it's I'm talking about this again for those who've been yesterday. So again, somewhere in the middle. Heart, again, the same idea with the understanding where the path, where the channel goes through, connecting to the eyes with variety of internal branches. So heart is the Shao Yin, Hen Shao Yin, so heart 9, kidney 1, concentration point with Ren 23, connection to the spirit, and so on. So all emotional issues and basically that. Small intestine, posterior part of the hand and the back. It's the hand Tai Yang. So all the channel wherever it goes through, and all the symptoms of heat and pain on the channel pathway. Okay, so it's Tai Yang, so small intestine 1, bladder 67 with concentration point of bladder 1. Okay, connection to the ear and connection to 8 extra to the Dumai. So we can see that also here. Bladder, the longest meridian, goes through all the posterior part of the body many muscles, very common in the clinical use. And yeah, not much to say. The connection to the organs, kidneys, anus, and the heart. Okay, so we see here a connection between Tai Yang, Shao Yin levels. So again, everything which is connected to pain on all these areas, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, I didn't fix it, sorry, and kidney urinary issues. Okay, also has the connection to the brain. It's important to repeat that. And kidney leg Shao Yin. The channel goes through the genitals, goes through the spine, goes through different organs, heart. And if you look at the muscles, so the muscles which are close to the spine. Okay, so all the issues of kidney yin deficiency or kidney yang deficiency or kidney jing deficiency, all these can be connected here. Kidney 1, heart 9, REN 23 is concentration. Okay, connection to the heart with points on the kidney and REN, my. Okay, pericardium. The channel is basically from the heart area, from the chest, goes through the medial part of the hand. And I mentioned one thing which is usually not so known or mentioned as the spiral movement of the pericardium, like internal spiral, which covers basically all the other channels, okay, or controlling or supporting or giving the border to all the other channels. Today we'll talk about it a bit deeper with the genetic energy, constitutional energy. So it has important, of course, supporting the heart and so on, but the important part of pericard, also triple Romer later on, we'll see, is about fertility and constitutional energy, just because of this support. Okay, and if you remember at the beginning, I showed the big table with all connections. So remember I was talking about pericard and triple Romer on the sides, so they're supporting all the other meridians. So it's Jueyin and Jueyin, pericard 9, liver 1, concentration point with CV REN 18. Has a connection to the 3 heaters also on the Dumai, because again, it makes the spiral inside. So on the front part and on the back area, so 3 heaters with Du 4, 9, and 14, and Ren 6, 12, and 17. Okay. Then triple Romer again has internal pathway of spiral, internal spiral. Here it's again on the same direction as the pericardium, but I believe there should be like different movements, one to the right, one to the left, as basically yang and yin channels or energies. Okay, or the connection to the ear, the sides of the body is with the triple Romer. Okay. Okay, again, also here, the reproductive organs and genetics are important. Then we talked about the gallbladder. Well, it takes me more than 10 minutes, I'm sorry. Gallbladder responsible for all the sides. Just notice that the sinew channel has a branch to the sacral area. So many times the sciatic pain issues are because of this connection. Gallbladder, it's a Shaoyang, gallbladder 44, triple Romer 1, concentration point gallbladder 3, or small intestine 90, but I use usually gallbladder 3. Connection to the head, connection to the genitalia, and so on. All connections, all indications of basically Shaoyang, pain on the lateral aspects of the body, ears, headaches, migraines, everything on the lateral aspects. Liver, the last one, the channels goes through the genitalia, very important for reproductive issues. And as the Jueyin, basically responsible for blood, the movement of blood, circulation of chi and blood, like free flow of chi of blood, all the tension, stress, anger, frustration, very common in the Western world these days. So Jueyin, liver 1, pericard 9, and concentration point with CV Ren 18. Connection to the brain because of the internal channels and connection to the vision nerve that responsible for vision, and genitalia, of course. Also liver 5 as Luo connecting point affecting the genitals. Okay, so these are basically in a very fast, the fastest I made ever. I hope it wasn't too fast for those of you who haven't been yesterday. Just okay, I'll just take a look on the chat if there are any questions about this. Okay, I don't see these slides. I actually, question to Donna and the team. Today I sent a new slideshow. Mostly I changed some of the slides from the end of the day, but I did some changes. So if it's possible, just to, we'll talk about it later, but I don't know if it was uploaded or not. But anyway, for you participants, if you see something which is different from what you downloaded in advance, so don't worry, you'll get the new version. Okay, I made some changes today because I thought I wanted to adjust it a bit better according to what we talked yesterday. Okay, so okay, let's see. I'm just reading the chat. Okay, part one, okay, downloading. Okay, great review. Okay, excellent. So, okay. Okay, I sent it to, well, I'll send it again to you. I sent it to Rina, but I'll send it to you on the break also. Okay, yeah, no changes yet. Don't worry. Okay, you will get everything. Okay. Okay, I'll send it again anyway to you. So I'll continue. So any questions from this part so far? Any of you? Something is not understood? Okay, great. So, okay, no questions? I'm continuing with your permission. So we talked about also the Luo connecting points when we have, so there are a few ways of working with the Luo channels, which are, there are specific points that open the Luo channel, and usually we want to make homeostasis between the two meridians in the same element. Okay, and therefore sometimes it will be possible to see the disbalance, mostly as I mentioned yesterday, on the discoloration, the changes on the color of blood circulation. So many practitioners also tend to bleed these points and like to get rid of the excess, because we will use Luo points from meridian that is in axis, and we will try to direct the chi to the partner which is more deficient. Okay, so lung 7 will connect to large intestine 4, which is the Yuan point of large intestine. Okay, and same for all the other meridians. So the Luo connecting points or meridians are in the yin level also. Okay, and I showed this how the connection between Luo and source, and from the source again to the yin yang pair, going through the source again and to the organ. Okay, so I showed it yesterday. And I'll move on to the divergent meridians. I also explained about them yesterday, just to make sure, because I don't know when I was stopped with the Zoom, but basically the divergent meridians, they branch out from the 12 main meridians on different points. Okay, so they have like the starting where they start on different areas for each meridian. They have lower meeting point and upper meeting points. They enter the related partner on yin and yang relationship. They distribute chi and blood to head and face, and they integrate areas in the body that don't get enough chi supply. So divergent meridians also, I mentioned this kind of thing here. When a pathogen enters usually to the Wei Qi, the TMM, the sinew meridians and the cutaneous meridians or areas, they will try to fight this pathogen and to send it out or release it out. In case the pathogen is strong, okay, so they will fight. In case the pathogen is strong, it will get deeper to the joints or to the Zangfu organs. And this is what we want to avoid. We don't want the pathogen to stay in the Zangfu organs. So therefore, we open the divergent meridians. And with this action, what happens is basically we take the pathogen out to the joints. The joints are like deep, they are in the deepest levels of the pathways, so they can store the pathogen, but we prefer to direct it to the yuan qi level. Okay, then it will be in hold in a way. Okay, the pathogen can wait there until the right moment will come, and we will be able to release this pathogen and send it out again. Okay, from the joints or from all the levels. Okay, so this is just like the basic idea of how we want to look at the divergent meridians. Okay, actually about another thing about the pathogen, when it stays deep in the yuan level, it can stay there and like in a hold, okay, in a hidden condition, like latent, and it will not make any harm, basically. If it's in the Zangfu, it's more harmful, and we want to avoid it. We also want to, let me see, just in case I'm forgetting anything, I'm just taking a look at my notes here to make sure I'm okay. I didn't forget anything. Yeah, I think that's basically it. Yeah, okay. Wait, maybe one more thing here. Okay. Basically, yeah, one more thing about this is that the strongest effect of the divergent meridians will be again affecting the TMM or like the Wei Qi level. Okay, the effect of Wei Qi level will be able to diminish or to let go or to get rid of the pathogen. So it's always about this function, and therefore usually before I will start working with the divergent meridians, I will puncture first the Jing well points, okay, to open the TMM meridians. Okay, so in case I want to work on the lung, like to get rid of pathogen from lung divergent, so I will puncture lung 11. I can use also to work on the same layer and also spleen 1. Let me write it down. So I will do, just 1 second. I will just draw. So I will go through lung 11, spleen 1, then stomach 12 as the lower point, and then large intestine 18. Okay, and with this way, I'll be able to get rid of or fight the pathogen. Okay. Next one, any questions about this? Oh, I see the chat is active. Okay, I'm just reading. TMM stands for tendomuscular meridians or sinew channels. Okay, so something about okay, wait, I'll go back again. Okay. Were they still small? Oh, no, printing. It's about printing, okay? I'm not about that. Luo is good for blood stasis issues. Yeah, basically all the issues of blood. It's and bloodletting, yeah, definitely it's good from the Luo points. I usually don't do that much. It's like lots of mess. But practitioners work a lot with the Luo meridians. They will go to the veins. They will see if it's, again, it's about the discoloration. So if the vein is purple or red, or you can see the stasis or like Cooperose, so they will bleed it, and in this way they will release this, they will release it. TMM is where cut outie. Caroline, I didn't understand this. Is it a question? No. Okay, so by using Divergent, you expel the pathogen from the Yuan level. I want to expel it first of all from the from the Wei Qi level. If it got, so one of the options is that we can hold it if it was penetrated into the deeper level from I mean deeper than Wei Qi level to the Ying Qi level to the Zhang Fu organs, so we can push it down, more down to the Yuan Qi, and it will basically it will stay there or it will go out. Depends on how deep the pathogen went. Okay. So about notes, about TMM slide yesterday. Okay, something for Donna. Okay, I'll continue. Why would you ever want to push down to Yuan? Yeah, so this is one thing about the divergent meridians, because they work on Wei Qi level and on the Yuan Qi level, they don't work much. They don't have the interaction with the Yin Qi level. Okay, they know how to go deep and to push it. So they are deep. I mean, they again, if the pathogen is on the Wei Qi level and entered in, so we can keep it and it will stay like in a condition which is not harmful. Okay, in the Yuan Qi level, in the 8 extra meridians, or in the joints, the big joints, and it will not make harms. The divergent meridians, they work, or we can activate them only when there's a pathogen, when there's a disease. We cannot open them just like that. Okay, so if there's a pathogen already, so it probably got inside. Okay, so we can keep it inside to keep it quiet, and in a while, or I don't know, whenever the pathogen starts to affect in different ways, we can expel it out. We can see that, or we can feel that on the pulse. But again, this is the way of working with this. I don't know how common it is in the daily practice. I use it not so often, okay? Because again, in order to work on the pathogens, I will still have other ways with the TMM meridians and with regular meridians, like main meridians. So this is another option which is existing, okay? Don't get stuck on this, okay? Can you give a case example, of how you would use Divergent? So, okay, a case, for example, liver, okay? A patient got drunk and fire pathogen or toxicity got deeper, and he's like, I will say the symptoms will be something I saw a few years ago. So the symptoms are like a toxic condition, so throwing up and digestive issue and dizziness and like fainting, kind of the shen is not like how to say, not the awareness, the consciousness is not stable. Okay, so this is kind of invasion of pathogen deep into the level of the I would say liver. Okay, so it got deeper, and here basically we can use. So I will use first of all liver 1 plus pericard 9, and I will use the upper and lower. So first with REN 2, okay, the lower point plus gallbladder 1. Okay, so this is like the structure. Oh, sorry, I forgot here REN 18 as the concentration point of the Juayin. Okay, so this is basically the idea. One more question. Okay, lecture notes, not me. But it will try to do it automatically in case, but in that case, the patient might be too weak and may need help. Okay, so again, we need to see all aspects with the different conditions. Liver 5 is Luo, so we can, of course, we can use also Luo and to connect it to the gallbladder, direct it to gallbladder. Many options. Okay, I just said something which is yeah. So divergent points again. The divergent starts at liver 5, yeah, but the lower meeting points. Let me just go 1 second. Let's just clear this one. I'll go to the liver. So the liver meridian, the divergent, we can see again specific points. So it doesn't, we can say it starts basically on the area of liver 5, but again, the area of the lower abdomen, stomach 30 area, is a point which we can start directing it. Again, divergent, they lift it up, they lift the chi up, so we can direct it up to the gallbladder, basically. That's why gallbladder, that's why gallbladder is there too. Okay, gallbladder 1. So the channel goes through this area of the anterior part of the leg, okay, from the area of liver 5, but even a bit lower from what we saw on the pathway. But the entering point to the divergent will be through REN 2, and the secondary, the upper meeting point, will be gallbladder 1. This is like the structure. This is like the protocol. Okay. So I hope I answered this. And so again, when we make the diagnosis, when we facing the patient, we want to understand the whole picture. We talked about making the diagnosis. So we'll palpate the pulse. We'll see, is there chi there? What's the condition? What's the situation? And according to that, we will decide how exactly to build the treatment. It's it's attempting to give like one perfect protocol. But as I mentioned also yesterday, the whole idea as what I aim, or what my aim is in this seminar, is to help you to open your mind to think more widely, like to be open to all the options, not by point functions, but more on the understanding of the pathway and the function of the system that doesn't work. Okay, so if I talk about, I don't know, if it's the liver, okay, if we talk about liver has the pathway, the channel itself, but liver is also connected to the flow of chi, to the housing the hun and the spiritual aspect, or the shen aspect, is responsible for holding the blood and regulating and directing the blood. So depends if it's about the movement, if it's about the quality of blood, if it's about the ability to see forward on the hun aspect and the mental spiritual aspect. So we need to understand what's going on with the patient, not just the pathway. Pathway will help us to understand all the conditions, all the like physical conditions very easily. Okay, all the pain issues, which are, you know, most of the clinic, most of what we see in the clinic. So they all might be very clear with this. So we need to understand the condition. And with the table that you will see right away in like 2 or 3 slides, it will be all clear of how you get to a patient. And it's like the metrics. From this metrics, okay, what can I choose? So which protocol will be the easiest, the best one in this case, okay? So question here. I remember one slide, a page. Okay. What was the meaning use of the points he wrote on the screen? Liver 1 and pericard 9 are the opening points of the channel, of the level. Okay, I'll go once again here. So liver 1, you see opening level. Okay, with opening the level is drawing, which is liver and pericardium. Okay, I want to go to the like Jing well points of each of them, which is liver 1 for liver and pericard 9 for pericard. With this, I open the level, the whole level of Jueyin, leg and hand. Okay, so I was talking yesterday that this is like the basic structure of how to work with the channels, the way I work with the channels. And I also said, I also mentioned today, if it's too difficult, painful to use the Jing well points, we can use the source points. So it will be liver 3 or pericardium 7. Okay, instead of these. We can use both of them, okay? But again, and the concentration point is the point that connects liver and pericard, okay, on the internal channels that they have, on the branches, internal branches, okay? Is it clear? So let me just delete this. Then, never mind. I'll go forward. If there's any other question, can I get, are these liver divergent meridian? So I can, there are some, I don't remember all of them right now. I can get it after the break. Okay, I can get it for you and tell you about the divergent, of all divergent. Again, because it's, I don't know if it's that common. You know what, I will do that. I will take my notes about this. I have notes for this. I will make it more specific. I don't want to say just from my memory, because it's not for all of them. Okay, so I will check and I will let you know Catherine. No, Catherine, Frizella. Okay, so after the break, I will get it to you. Let me just write it down that I won't forget. Okay. So, in all case, it is okay to use source points instead of Jing well points then? Basically, yes. It's, I said it, I told it also yesterday, if the Jing well points are like the 100%, like the availability of 100% to stimulate the channel, source point will be 70, 80%, something like that, okay? So it's still good enough. That's still strong enough. But of course we can use them. Okay. So TMM meridians. Just see that I didn't miss anything so far. Okay. So TMM meridians are basically very simple. I mentioned them all this time when I talked about opening the levels. So they are the first points, I mean, of the limbs, from the limbs. So large intestine 1, triple 1, small intestine 1, and so on. They work on stimulating the chi, the wei chi, okay, on the surface between the skin and the muscles. They have their circulation during the day and night, okay, during the day on the yang meridians, during the night at the yin meridians. They have the effect of releasing the pathogens or working on the pathogens. And TMM is tendomuscular meridians, or sinew meridians. They work very good for all the external conditions, all pain issues of muscles and tendons, ligaments, joints, all the skin issues, okay, the work on the most superficial areas. So they work very good on all skin rashes and problems, skin diseases, the dermatology basically. You know, I was once talking with Mazin Al-Kafaji, you know, he wrote the manual of acupuncture with Peter Dedman and Kevin Baker. And so I was in one of his seminars in Rothenburg Congress in Germany. And it was on dermatology, about psoriasis and so, and he was talking only on herbs. He didn't mention even one acupuncture point. And I came to him at the break time and I told, okay, no acupuncture at all. He said, for dermatology, skin disorders, herbs worked perfectly. So I don't use acupuncture for that. And since then I started thinking, because I'm doing cosmetic acupuncture, and I see good results with that and different issues, but obviously I agree that herbs work perfectly for skin diseases because it's from the internal, it's just on the superficial level, we see that, okay, it's like mirror for the inside, but again, when we work with TMM meridians, we can work also on all these aspects. So most of the things that we will see in the clinic will be connected to pain issues, muscles, joints, sinews, and so on. Part of the TMM meridians, we have also motor points. Motor points are like the edges of the nerves and the muscles. So we can stimulate the nerves also with these points. We have trigger points when, again, we can feel on the different areas of the muscle. We can feel some tension, something like ashi points, okay, or we can also say, okay. So all these kind of treatments, all these ways of treating will be with this TMM meridian. So basically, the way of working with the TMM is just working on the, because they, oops, sorry, this is not what I wanted to do. So if we want to work on, okay, so this is like the finger, okay, so it doesn't matter, okay, TMM, there will be the Jingwell points, there will be usually at on the finger, on the edge, I mean, on the corner of the fingernail. Usually the best way to puncture, I also mentioned yesterday, I will do that. I'll try to be sensitive and gentle in a way. So I will pinch the finger from both ways, from both sides, in order to squeeze the finger, and the pressure, or it will be more delicate. It will be less painful. And the angle of needling is like 30 degrees. Okay, 30 degrees into the direction of the channel. Okay, to the limb, basically. Okay, so this is the way I work with these. Again, motor point, trigger points, depends. You need to see the map of the nerves, nervous system, and how they penetrate the muscles, and with that to work. So all cases of paralysis or Bell's palsy, different issues or different conditions where muscles are affected by the nerves, so we can affect the nerve, the muscle with this way. So I use guide tube in all the puncturing I do. I always use a guide. It's more easier for me. I feel it's also more exact in a way. Okay. 2 slides per page. Not about slides. To make it clear without making them larger. Okay. It's about the slides again. Okay. So this is about, we have also meeting TMM. The meeting TMM will be, as you can see here, connected to the 3 hand-yang meridians. Okay, so the 3, instead of like puncturing 3 points on 3 meridians, I can use just gallbladder 13 and affecting these 3 hand meridians. In cases of, I will use this in cases of pain which is spreaded, or issues, skin issues or whatever, which are spreaded on few meridians, located on few meridians, and not just a specific meridian. Okay, so we can use these also. I tend to use both in these cases. I said yesterday also, I puncture a lot. I mean, I'm not afraid of puncturing, and I love puncturing. So patients, I can get in average treatment, something like 20 needles in average treatment. In cases of facial treatment, so it will be like 10 needles on the body and 30, 40, even 50 more on the face, because I work a lot with muscles. So I surrounding muscles and so on, so it takes many needles. And for the face, mostly Cyrene, but again, I also said about the specific needles I'm using. Usually I'm using the Dongbang, no commercial here, but I really love this needle. It's a Korean needle, 0.16 on 15, okay? If the patient is very gentle, so I will use Cyrene. Cyrene, I think it's written like this, Cyrene. Cyrene, the Japanese needles. I will use 0.14 or 0.12 or 0.10 even. Okay, this is the blue, this is the green, and this is the lime. Okay, so anyway, I have all these needles in the clinic for all cases, whatever is needed. Okay, so this is about the TMM, and last one for the levels, for the upper level, for the Wei Qi, it's the cutaneous regions. So cutaneous region, meridians, not exactly meridians. They're basically they are on the same idea of TMM. They work on the same in the same level of the Wei Qi, but their basic function is to keep or to hold or to stand against the pathogens, okay, any pathogenic factors that penetrate through the skin. So yeah, they can penetrate from the skin to the Jingluo, to all the other meridians. So all kinds of skin sensations, discolorations, you know, blue color, which indicates pain, red color indicates heat. So on the color of the complexion, we can see, and of course, according to the specific area, we can see which level is affected. Okay, is it Taiyang, Shaoyang, Yangming, Taiyin, Shaoyin, and Zhuiyin? Okay, so just as an example, it came up to me. A few years ago, a patient told me that when she's taking a shower with very, very hot water, she has a line in her leg on the area of the liver. It was exactly in the, she took a picture of that after the shower. It was exactly on the meridian pathway. And so it was quite crazy. I mean, really to see how there is effect, and okay, it's real, how there is an effect on that path. So in her case, she was liver deficient, like blood deficiency, and the hot water kind of stimulated and created some false heat there. Liver, yin and blood, we can make them kind of same idea. Okay, the deficiency of in the material. Okay, so again, we can see that many times. We can see on the face, you know, a red face, which indicates heat in Yang Ming, and so on. So all the external therapies, such as gua sha, rollers, cupping, different creams, plum blossom, skin scraping, dermal needling, all these are, even essential oils, all these are affecting moxa, all these are affecting the cutaneous regions. And from this, or from this way of working, they can penetrate and help also to balance the internal main meridians, okay, like to penetrate to the different layers or levels. Okay. Should we take a break? Well, I see there's a question. So pathogenic factor that affect cutaneous region, head, cold, damp, heat, cold, damp. Yeah, basically the different climates can affect also, but any invasion, but usually it's invasions of climate. Emotions and all the internal issues will be connected to the emotions, to the organs. Okay, so time for a break. So let's take like 15 minutes break. I made the timing, so it will be until like 10:35. 10:35 we come from the break. Okay, if you have any questions, just write me down and I'll go to find my notes. Okay, so see you soon.